If I told you guys that I'm shooting this intro on a budget 4K webcam, would you have even noticed? Well, it's true. I'm actually shooting on the new OBSBOT MEET 2 4K webcam. You know, finding a great webcam these days can be a challenge. There are some that have all the bells and whistles, but come with a price tag that will make your wallet cry. And then there are budget ones that, well, let's just say you can tell out their budget. But what if I told you that you can get a 4K webcam packed with some of the features as the higher end models, all for just $129. And on top of that, it's tiny. I'm talking mini Tic Tac pack tiny. Well, meet the OBSBOT MEET 2, pun intended. Now you've seen my reviews of the OBSBOT Tiny 2 4K and the Tail Air. You already know they make some killer cameras. The MEET 2 is smaller and cheaper, yet it manages to hold its own against its bigger brothers. But is it the right camera for you? Let's find out. The build itself feels very premium to the touch, and you get 3 colors to choose from. Space gray, this really cool aurora green, and of course the cloud white, which we've got here. Given the size and the included accessories, it's super easy to set up. It's quite literally plug and play. You place the mount on your monitor, plug the cable into your webcam and PC, and snap the camera on the mount. Since it's magnetic, you can place it both horizontally and vertically. And the magnet is strong enough to hold the webcam for overhead shots if you really want to use it that way. For more flexibility though, it's got a standard 1/4 inch thread so you can mount it on a tripod, making it very handy for streamers and content creators who want to have a specific camera angle. Speaking of content creation, the MEET 2 is designed to be a 4K webcam for gamers and streamers. It's compatible with a bunch of streaming software, and I can connect it to my OBS or Stream Deck without any issues. One minor nitpick though, I wish the cables and the mount would match the color of the webcam, but it's not a big deal. It's still nice to see that they offer different colors for the webcam. It's refreshing to see one that doesn't look like a generic black square sitting on top of your monitor. Even though it works completely fine just plugging this directly into your PC, I still recommend downloading the OBSBOT Center software. It gives you full control over the settings and the rest of the functionality, plus it automatically updates the firmware. Since this was the first time I was plugging it in, I already got a pop-up saying that it needs an update, so I'll just go ahead and update it now. Okay, now let's get into the good stuff. So as soon as you open up OBSBOT Center, you can see the settings over here on the right side. We definitely want to enable the video live preview by clicking on this icon over here, just so we can see what the quality looks like. And by default, you get 1080p at 30 FPS. If you want to change the settings and the FPS, we're going to go down here, click on the settings button, and we can set this to anything we want. It starts up at 720p at 30, but you can bring it all the way up to 4K 30, which is where we want if you want the best quality streams. We're also going to change the bitrate to high, and the recording format, we're going to keep it at MKV, but you can also switch to MP4 or MOV if you like. Besides the resolution, you can also switch between landscape and portrait mode depending on which aspect ratio you want to stream in. And you can also flip the feed by 90 degrees, you can mirror it, start recording, turn on a virtual camera, take a snapshot, and mute your mic. Okay, now that we have this set up, let's go ahead and dive into some real life scenario. So by default, the lighting in my studio is well lit because I have some studio lights on the top ceiling. And you guys can see how crisp and clear the video output is on the MEET 2. By default, auto exposure and white balance are set to on. Most streamers though, myself included, usually keep the lights in their room dim and they have like a few RGB strips or accent lighting in the back. In such cases, it's very important to have a webcam that can adjust and have a very clear picture in a darker setting. So let's go ahead and see how the MEET 2 handles in a very dark room. Okay, so this is pitch black. There is no light source, as you can see from the other camera, and the MEET 2 is actually doing a pretty good job keeping my face well lit. Like that, this is impressive. Okay, let's go ahead and turn on one of the lights back because we obviously need some light to stream. And wow, you can already tell the difference in lighting between my A7 S3 that I'm shooting with and the MEET 2. The MEET 2 is well lit, just using one source of light. Wow, that's actually impressive. With almost no light in the office, it handles it surprisingly well. And that's thanks to its 1/2 inch CMOS sensor with an f1.8 aperture, which lets in a ton of light, as you can clearly see. You can of course scroll down on the bottom right over here and adjust the settings manually. So you can adjust the contrast, you can adjust the saturation, make me look like an Oompa Loompa. You can do sharpness as well, and even mess around with the hue. Whoa, I look like Piccolo. Okay, that's a little too red. but you guys get the idea. I recommend sticking to the auto settings. There's even an HDR setting over here on the top right. If you enable this, this should balance out the highlights and the shadows. Yeah, you can see my shadow in the back, actually. Look at that as I'm moving. And if I disable it, it disappears. You can't even see it. So it's less realistic. Let's go to enable it back again. There it is. Very nice, very nice. The console tab is where you can play around with the camera's zoom and get the perfect frame for your bathtub streams. You can use the slider or choose from the 3 preset zoom settings. You got wide, medium, and narrow. Then you can fine tune the frame with a virtual joystick. Okay, now let's test out the autofocus of the Meet 2. Let's say you're in the middle of a stream, or maybe you're demonstrating something in a class and you bring something up in front of the camera. How fast does it focus? So here is the plant. Bam! Back in the frame. Whoa! Actually, wow. Wow, okay, let's try something smaller. I don't believe it. Whoa, that is wicked fast. That is actually impressive. Whoa! That is actually impressive. Did you see that speed? Look at that. Bam. That's like near instant, actually. That's actually impressive. Okay, let's do something smaller, okay? I will find its weakness. Bam. I bet you can't focus a quarter. Oh, okay. Now it's lagging a little bit. Maybe a slight delay because it's smaller. I mean, that's still impressive. Come on. You gotta be kidding me. I found the weakness. If it's small, it will have a little bit of an issue. See, it's trying to fetch. But I mean, realistically, are you really gonna be holding something tiny in front of the camera? The sweet spot is in the middle. But if it's something as small as a quarter, that's when it'll start to fetch. Play around with the autofocus until it catches it. So anything else, it does it just fine. Look at that. Impressive. There's probably a setting over here that you can use to disable the autofocus and do it yourself. Here it is, autofocus is off, and you can manually focus if you want. The third and final tab is called More, and over here you can mess around with the sleep settings, adjust your microphone, and other miscellaneous features. So sleep mode is actually a pretty cool feature for streams. Let's say you step away from the PC, you can set a timer on when the webcam will go into sleep mode. You can put it for 30 seconds, 2 minutes, or 10 minutes. And if you want to do it manually, you can just click on the power button over here on the top right. You can also choose between 3 different backgrounds. So the first one is just a black screen. You can go with this pretty cool astronaut sitting on a cloud. Or my favorite, you can upload your very own custom image. Oh yeah. Now, audio is just as important as video when streaming, okay? No one wants to sound like a tin can. Realistically, I mean, this is where you would bring out your quality dynamic or even condenser microphone, but if you don't have the money for that, you can use the built-in microphone on the Meet 2. The Meet 2 actually has dual omnidirectional microphones with noise reduction and auto gain control. Let's test it out with a heat gun blasting right next to me. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna start off with the weak noise reduction setting. So here we go, got the heat gun turned on, and it is basically about 1 feet away from me, and I'm talking directly at the Meet 2 webcam. So we're gonna go ahead and bump this up to medium. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference. Here I am again, talking directly into the webcam. Still, we got the heat gun next to me about 1 feet, and now we're going to bump it up all the way to strong. So here I am again, talking with the heat gun right next to my mouth, directly into the Meet 2 webcam. Another cool feature is the radio distance. So if you're going to record audio on the Meet 2, it's better to keep the radio distance close. If you keep it standard or far, then it'll start picking up noises or sounds away from the microphone. So if you have somebody else in the next room, it'll actually end up picking their noise instead. So I'll actually go ahead and switch the settings right now as I'm talking. This is what it sounds like with standard. I don't know if you guys can hear anything on the other side of the wall. My kids are kind of playing around. But the wall is fairly thick, so I highly doubt it'll be picked up. And then you got far. So this is the max setting that you can set while using the microphone on the Meet 2. Now obviously this isn't meant to replace a dedicated microphone setup, but for everyday calls and quick streams, it doesn't disappoint. So another cool feature is the light indicator on the webcam itself. So this changes colors depending on what the camera is doing. It will slowly flash blue when it's powering on, green when it's active, blue and yellow when it's updating firmware, and purple when auto framing is on. And just like the other OBSBOT cameras, you get the beauty mode with a bunch of filters, where you basically make a Skyrim character out of yourself by cranking up the settings. I cover this in my Tiny 2 review, so you can check that out if you're interested. Okay, so for what this offers, the Meet 2 is super affordable compared to its competitors. At $129, you get 4K resolution, AI features, good low light performance, and a compact design. I honestly think this is perfect if you're just trying to upgrade your laptop's built-in webcam, or if you want a high-quality 4K webcam without the hefty price tag. If you're live streaming, creating content, or you just want to look crisp during your gaming sessions while being able to slip the webcam into your pocket, the Meet 2 is a solid investment. With that said, if you guys want to check out the OBSBOT Meet 2 4K webcam, I'll drop a link to it down below in the description section. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.